This is Fabulously Polite, a podcast without labels dedicated to human rights, education, arts and culture, focusing on the Balkans, Central and Eastern Europe. Our musical intro is by Acrylics. One of the hosts, Kosta Karakashyan, could easily play the lead in a Willy Wonka musical. Is that true?
Why not? Everything is possible.
Of course. And I, Simeon Todorov, am easily a Willy Wonka.
I was gonna say you
Can I say that?
The other could easily eat all the chocolate in the movie, but that also works.
I can eat... You know what? For legal reasons, I am not going to mention Timothée Chalamet. So...
On that note, how are you, Simo?
I am enjoying the summer. I am still in my reproductive era, even though it's like nothing is happening. But overall, things are going okay. I think it's a very, very slow summer for me. I don't know how yours is. It's kind of like in 1997-8, Ace of Base released a single called Cruel Summer. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very lonely kind of, because all of my friends are somewhere, including you. You were gone for like 3 weeks or even more. But I'm trying to enjoy it by reading and cooking, like kind of a domestic summer.
That's nice.
Kinda, yeah.
Also, Taylor Swift has a song called Cruel Summer. But to go back, did you say you were in your reproductive era?
Yes. Why? Why is that surprising?
Reproductive as in making kids.
Well, I am trying to give my kids to people, they just don't want them. Does that make sense? That's what I'm... listen, I'm going to be cancelled on the second English episode, so I don't really... I'll be quiet. So yeah, what else? I've been... What have I... Oh, I've been experimenting in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I love cooking. So I have the Anthony Porowski's first book.
The first one is called Anthony in the Kitchen or something like that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the second one is Dinner with Anthony or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a salad with tomatoes and peaches and basil and champagne vinegar, which of course I don't have, so I used like regular vinegar. And it's so good. Like, I love making this. It's a very summer salad. That's it.
That's nice.
I know it's a boring... No, it's not nice. It's a boring summer that I'm carrying.
It's brings me back to like the very first days and the first episodes of Queer Eye when it came out, and Anthony was still being discovered, and those were the days where he was at his most controversial with the food suggestions on the show, like putting yogurt in guacamole and being the cooking expert but not turning on a stove or stuff like that. And it was a very interesting time when he was establishing himself on the show, and people were really quick to criticize the cooking.
Listen, Anthony Porowski has my back 100%. Take it as you want. But this comes from a person who puts honey in mayonnaise. This is the best dip. Have you tried this?
Not yet.
Listen, put some honey in mayonnaise and use it as a dip for like vegan chicken nuggets. It's amazing. I highly recommend this. Anyway, do you have a soundtrack to this summer?
A soundtrack? I was just recommended one today on Spotify. It was called something like Sad Girl Starter Pack, and I embraced it. I think, having a summer that's really active when you're doing so many things and meeting so many people is overrated. So it's nice to have a chill, sad summer. So that would be my playlist.
I think my summer is sad, so I don't need that soundtrack. Troye Sivan is my soundtrack. I was listening to him before. I would listen to a few singles and sometimes an album or something. I think he only had 2 albums, was it? Anyway, his first album was amazing. It was a really, really good thing. But the Rush single, I think, is his best work yet. And I am angry at this twink because the song is too short.
It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Listen, twink, this needs to stop. You need to stop releasing short singles. That's all I'm going to say. I know he's listening to the podcast. Anyway, no, I'm just being stupid. So what about you? Like, how is your summer?
It's good. We just came back from a 25-day holiday in Greece, which was really nice. I think vacationing in July is really great because now I came back and it's just the beginning of August. The city of Sofia is quite empty, which I love. And I still have a whole month to kind of relax and, still work here and there, but be relaxing at home, which is also really nice. I feel like there's sometimes the pressure to travel a lot, but some of the best rest you can get is in your own house, just, taking time to read books, relax, do whatever you want. So it was a really nice decision to vacation earlier in the summer. And now I feel like August is going to be my second holiday, but at home.
I missed my chance. Like all my friends, when they were making plans, I deliberately decided not to be part of them because I wasn't sure. No. I wasn't sure how much work I would have, like the workload. And now everyone is somewhere, so I can't really do anything. I'm stuck in Plovdiv, which is horrible, especially in August.
Yeah.
It's extremely hot. Nothing's happening. Like there aren't that many festivals or gallery, like exhibitions or whatever. So, yeah, maybe my summer holiday will be at the end of September in Amsterdam. And I think our listeners must, and I use the word must, hear the story about my experience in Amsterdam. But this will happen in another episode, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our listeners are in Amsterdam right now for Pride, actually. I got a few fun conversations with people who told me they are now partying it up in Amsterdam. So, good for them.
Yeah. At the time of the recording, I think there's a Pride in Sweden, in Stockholm, I think. So, yeah, I think that's happening today. Amazing. So, yeah.
So, in our fan mail today, we have just a few short messages from some of you. Some of you said that they're loving the new English logo, which we're really happy about. We worked again with our graphic designer, Georgi Despodov, on the design for this new international version, which is inspired by the sculptures, which are also a big topic of conversation in Bulgaria, the monuments to Soviet leaders and people fighting for something. So we wanted to kind of play with this heritage and create our own version of two leaders or two fighters for queer rights. So if you're wondering why we're holding the flag, that's a lot of where the inspiration came from. And some of our other listeners said that they couldn't really relate to the Fuck, Marry, Block from last episode because they prefer real people instead of cartoons. And I would say they're not the only one.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I also sent the episode to a few friends because their input is important to me. They were very, very positive, and that's not what I was looking for. I, of course, like it when people say, hey, you did a good job, but I was looking for criticism. And the only criticism that we got is like, why did you send me a Spotify link? I don't use Spotify, so I had to download it so I could hear you. And I'm like, it's on all platforms. So, dear listeners, you can find us on different platforms. Don't worry, it's not just on Spotify.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's move on to the instant interactions. This is another way that you can interact with us. Send us messages on Instagram or on our email. But first, fuck, marry, block, the thing that you mentioned earlier. The first one was with Wolverine, and 45% of people voted fuck, 20% marry, and block 35%, which I think is kind of what we discussed the last time.
Mm-hmm.
It's either like him or not.
Yeah, he's a polarizing character with a very strong energy.
Absolutely. Gambit, who is not that popular, I think. 42% of our listeners voted block, then fuck 32%, and marry 26%. And finally, Cyclops, marry 42%, fuck 32%, and block 26%. So this is kind of like a, middle ground. Maybe it's not the right term, but sure. Something like that. But yeah.
Thanks for voting.
I'm excited. Yeah, thanks for voting. I'm excited about the next fuck, marry, block because you always choose things that make me think. So I'm excited. Yeah.
It's an intellectual challenge for sure.
For me, yes. Okay, now, speaking of which, let's talk about our news block.
So, are you a fan of Cheyenne Jackson, Simon?
Is that's a actor, like more into musicals? No? Stop laughing at me.
I think you just answered my question.
Oh wait, is that the guy who is in that TV series, Call Me Cat? No.
Yeah, actually.
Is that it? That's him? Yeah, I know who that is. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm a big fan of him. He, as a few days ago, announced that he's back on Cameo, which is a platform where you can hire celebrities to record personalized videos, like videos where they greet you. So you can pay a little bit of money and, make a video for someone's birthday where it'll be like, hi, this is Cheyenne Jackson and I'm wishing Girgana a happy birthday or whatever. But he announced this with quite a nice photo, so I decided to add it to our news today. You can click the link and see it for yourself.
I think this is the most important piece of news that we are having today. Look at that photo. Like, are we leaving the Instagram link?
Yes.
Jesus Christ, what are you eating, Cheyenne? What is that? Jesus. Okay, nice nipples. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to cut this from the episode.
To another almost as important piece of news.
Yeah. So, huge news for Bulgaria. The National Assembly adopted a law on the amendments and supplements to the penal code. So this provides for heavier penalties for crimes committed with the motive of the victim's sexual orientation. So we've been waiting for this to happen for, I think, almost 20 years now, or is it more?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what is interesting, and I will be reading this so as not to skip something, among the crimes that will be punished more severely are murder, bodily injury, kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, use of violence against another or damage of his property, participation in a mob assembled to attack groups of the population, individual citizens or the property, knowingly preventing someone from entering work or forcing them to leave work, and so on and so on. So I don't think we're going to leave the whole text of the decree because it's in Bulgarian. I don't think. Yeah. But this comes after a horrible thing that happened in Bulgaria. It's not the focus of the podcast, but we're just going to mention this just so you know how severe the situation in Bulgaria was when it came to these types of laws. So there is this young woman that was cut with a carpet knife and she needed 400 stitches. And kind of the police and the whole judicial system tried to hide that, and someone came forward and there were national protests in, I think, more than 40 cities and towns, and like, which was amazing. So this helped push this law, like the penal code. Yeah, we're very quiet. I don't know. You and I like having fun. The podcast is usually humor and great things that we share. But when a situation like this happens, I cannot fathom and understand why there are people who do this to another human being.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's a very important development in Bulgaria that sexual orientation will now be a motive that could be addressed as a hate crime, because in the last 10 years we've had quite a lot of hate crimes. We've had people murdered for not being LGBTQ but appearing or looking as if they were gay. We've had offices of LGBTQ organizations vandalized. We've had a lot of young people being attacked and assaulted on the streets for being queer. So it's quite important. We've had also people being fired from their jobs for being queer in Bulgaria. So it's really great that from now on this motive will be addressed and persecuted more severely.
Yeah, and a huge congratulations to all the Bulgarian LGBT plus organizations that have been working on this. I was kind of... I was disappointed that nothing was happening for so many years. But of course, it's not an easy task at all. I cannot imagine what these people have been through. Especially it was frustrating in 2008 when Mikhail Stoyanov was killed in the Borisov Garden in Sofia with openly homophobic motives. And I think one of his killers, I think he even ran away or left the country or something. I don't know, something happened there. I no longer remember, to be honest. If you do, just let me know. So it's a great step forward to keeping Bulgaria and the Balkans, like the people of Bulgaria and the Balkans, safer.
Our next piece of news is about a really fascinating Bulgarian Spanish film. It's a film called Ljuben, and it's a co-production between the two countries about a character called Victor who returns to his childhood home in Bulgaria for his grandfather's funeral and decides to stay for the summer. While reconnecting with his father in the village way of life, he unexpectedly finds love in the form of Ljuben, an 18-year-old Roma boy. Despite their differences and the conflicts around them, Victor and Ljuben find refuge in each other. This is a very fascinating film. I first read about it when it won the Audience Award at this year's Burgas International Film Festival here in Bulgaria. The director is Venci Kostov, and the film, in a piece in Variety, has signed for international distribution, so we're hoping to be able to see it very soon online somewhere, or hopefully in cinemas in Bulgaria. There's an article in Bulgaria from an outlet called Mamma Mia, which asks why are we not ready to share stories about love in Bulgaria, and it addresses the homophobic climate around the film and why it might or might not find theatrical distribution in Bulgaria.
Another quick piece of news is that I'm going to add very quickly. The amazing Lady Camden has a birthday on the 9th of August. So
happy birthday.
Go wish her a happy birthday. This is one of the nicest people you will meet. I'm glad we met back in 2009, was it, or 2010. I'm really happy for her success. Seriously, this is one of the kindest people you meet. So go wish Lady Camden a happy birthday. It's a piece of news, no?
It is.
Sure.
So, moving on to our bite of culture. Today on the food menu, we have the new season of Heartstopper on Netflix, which I know you binged and devoured in one day. Is that right?
Yes. You are absolutely correct. So what happened is, the moment they announced the release date, I put a huge X on my calendar. And I knew that I was going to do any work that day. So I went to the shop. I got me a cake, an ice cream, biscuits. What else did I get? A beer. And at 1 o'clock Bulgarian time, which is 12 o'clock Central European, that's when they this is when Netflix releases new stuff. I started watching Heartstopper Season 2. Did you get a chance to see it?
Not yet. It's on my to-do list this weekend.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say that it's the same as Season 1, but it's not, because they focused a bit more on the other characters, which I think is absolutely important. I am in an awe how these young actors portray these characters. And I am wishing them all the success that they could find. Like, this is tremendous work, first of all. Second of all, the fandom is as amazing as a little bit toxic, I would say, because they forced Kit Connor to come out at 18, which is horrible. Don't do that. I am in love with the characters, and the reason is that I personally never got the chance to experience this at school. Because back in the day, so they're in their 11th, 12th grade, something like that. So it was an extremely homophobic era in Bulgaria. So even if you went to school in a pink t-shirt, you could have gotten beaten up just by wearing this. Today, this is not a case, I think. We've passed this. So I never got to experience this sweet teenage heaven love, kinda. So,
yeah,
yeah.
It's a show that's very... I don't know, it's a show that shows you that in a way we can hope as queer people for those experiences that are positive, and there's a happy ending, which is really important. It really addresses a problem of always, the LGBTQ plus films having these negative endings. There's a trope in TV called bury your gays, that even if you introduce a gay character, something bad always happens to them. So it's really nice that the Heartstopper is really leading by example, that you can have happy queer people on the screen, and then in turn in real life as well.
Mm-hmm. I grew up watching movies that were always about HIV and AIDS. So all the gay characters that I saw on TV, I didn't have any role models. My role models would die. So it was a very scary thing to see as a teenager. And now I have these little heroes, and I say little heroes because to me they are. I'm 39 and I'm in an awe of the acting, the stories that they're telling. And it's something that I've missed all my life. So I am happy for all the kids that are growing up in Eastern Europe, on the Balkans, that get the chance because of the internet and Netflix to see this now. So yeah, well done.
Moving on to our next piece of culture is the website of Franco Gallery, based in San Francisco. It's a really renowned gallery that represents some of my favorite artists. And what I really like about their website is that they always share different exhibitions of their artists worldwide. So a lot of a lot of the places where you can see the work of these artists isn't just in San Francisco, but all around the world. Some of the exhibitions they have going on now include works by Peter Hujar, Nan Godin, one of my favorite artists, Hiroshi Sugimoto. So check out their website, even though it's not the same as, of course, physically attending an exhibition. There's still so much you can check out from their website, really learn about these artists and see where hopefully you'll be able to see their work in your own city. Now we'd like to say a very big thank you to our patrons for continuously supporting us. Our patrons are Stella, Tsetan, Borisław, Zurnica, Vasil, Ivaivu, Nick, Dimana, and Tony. A very big thank you to each one of you for listening to the podcast and being such a part of its support. The money that we collect with the podcast goes towards producing our short film Day, which is a love story about two university professors, exclusively on Patreon, where our patrons support us. We give exclusive content regarding the film, such as little notes from the script. We give updates on how the work is going, and it's a place where you can get a sneak peek behind the production of the film. So if this sounds fascinating to you, go ahead and support us on Patreon. And now we reach the main course of the episode, the highlight, the topic. We're 25 minutes into the episode. I think this is one of our better times getting to the main topic. And today we wanted to open up the conversation a little bit with all of you listening to the first moments where we found out we were queer, or that we felt different from other young people, not necessarily in a sexual way, but just in a way that told us we felt we were a little bit different. I think this journey for young people to realize that they are queer is so important, and something that in a way, for me, really validates the existence of queer people, because even in societies and places where governments are actively trying to suppress and stop queer people from existing, their queerness always comes out, and it's something that can't really be tamed, and it's something that really shows that we are who we are. And it's a moment where you realize that you're different, even though you might not know exactly in what way or what is causing this difference. It's a really sacred moment for any queer person, I would say. So to open up the conversation, I'm just gonna ask you directly, do you remember, Simo, when was the first time that you felt like there was something different about you?
As a straight man and a liar, my first experience. So yeah, I vividly remember this to this day. So when I talk to my friends about this, some of them don't remember the exact moment, but I do. So I was in my last year in the kindergarten, and I was hiding behind a curtain on the second floor of the, imagine this old Eastern European kindergarten, like no color. It's very gray. So this is 1990, yeah, or 91. So the monkey bars outside are very rusty and like old and whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was on the second floor, we were playing, and I just had a feeling that I don't belong there, because we had been separated into girls and into boys. So all the girls were in the other room playing with, I don't know, like kitchen and like dolls and whatever.
Cooking.
And we were, sure, yeah. Like what is it? Like servants. Let's teach the girls how to be servants. And we were given trucks, and I remember balls. I like playing with both, but I don't like trucks. Like, I'm not sure. Do you like playing with trucks?
No.
Okay. So this is the first time I knew something was it was just like a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot, there isn't terminology for this, I think. But the real, like, realization came when I had a huge crush on one of my, he wasn't a classmate, he was in a different class.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the ninth grade, which makes me, what, 14, I think, 14, 15. And he looked amazing. He looked like the long-lost member of the Backstreet Boys. Just imagine him. He had like this, what is that haircut called? Like everyone in the 90s had that.
The bow cut.
Bow? Yeah, the bow cut. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now he's married with children, I think. It's his loss. That's all I'm going to say. But that's the moment that I knew. I was tossing and turning in my bed, and I was like craving to be loved by a person like him, like a beautiful, straight man. So yeah. What is yours? Do you remember?
Very similarly, like to you, when I was young, I felt like I always wanted to. I had a few close, like, friends that were boys growing up, but I also would always like really get along with the girls, and I started dancing when I was really young, when I was 5. And I remember this is something that you get very early on as a dancer. People are always saying, men that choose to dance are gay, like, the dancers are gay. And this is something that, like, it was always there, but it didn't, it made me really angry, not because I felt like I was gay or that I was part of this other group, but because instinctively I knew that it was really bad to generalize about whole groups of people like that. So this was something that even as a kid, I was like, who are these people who have the right to, make a sweeping, generalized statement about the whole group of people? Surely, like, maybe some dancers are like this or like that, but they can't just go and be so prejudiced to say, oh, male dancers are gay. That always felt so stupid to me. And this is always why this comment made me really angry. And I think it also made me feel really determined to prove this stereotype wrong. So this is something that I felt like I didn't want it to be true, just to not give them more ammunition that their predictions are true. But it also kind of closed me off to embracing this side of my personality until later. I remember there was one dance competition when I was maybe older, like 12 or 13. And there was this really beautiful boy there. I think he was from Romania or somewhere from abroad. And he had these really beautiful blue eyes. And I remember I felt some type of attraction, like I wanted to be around him and spend time with him, but I didn't really know, like, what were the ways that you could engage with a boy in this way. It wasn't an option in my head that I was physically or sexually attracted to him, but it was just this feeling of like, oh, there's something that I want to happen with this boy. And then it took a really long time. Like, later on, I would also find like gay porn, but I would watch it, but I didn't I wouldn't say, oh, because I'm watching this then I'm gay. It was just something that I saw and maybe I enjoyed, but I didn't see it as part of my identity, which came on really later. And I think it's interesting that sometimes we go through these like stages of realization.
Mm-hmm. my first wet dream was with a woman. How strange is that? And it was on a huge table. And I think to this day, the table has stayed in my life because I love eating and I love being surrounded by women. But that's it.
What was the moment where you felt like maybe you had internalized all of this stuff, but then when did you say, oh, I think I'm, ready to see what it feels like, or like I'm gonna have my first kiss or my first experience with someone?
So, I've never come out. I never had to go and tell parents or relatives or coworkers or whatever anything. Like I've never done this. People just kind of know, or I just casually mention it. There wasn't a big party with balloons and like, I don't know, drag queens dancing behind me, doing an expressive dance coming
That
out.
would be nice.
That would be nice, but it just wasn't me. Like if someone asked me, I would say yes. The first time I said, I came out to someone was in the States, to this wonderful, wonderful person. And I am not using gender here because I have my suspicion that they might be trans. So I'm trying to be careful. I lost contact with them. I would love to meet them because they helped me start loving myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had these conversations, and this was one of the nicest people that I've met. And they took me for the first time to a gay bar, even though I wasn't 21. I was in the middle of 4 butch lesbians, and I was tiny. I was 52 kilograms. Like, what is that in pounds?
Whatever.
100? I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So 52 kilograms, like very skinny, and I had the experience of my life. And before that, like I think a week before that, I came out to them in their car.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were like, "Are you really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not just because the like I'm not sure if you've noticed this in the States, they think European men are kind of gay, maybe because of the tight jeans and that we wear clothes. I don't know, like I don't know what I mean, but there is this preconception that maybe if he's a good-looking guy and well-dressed, he's gay, which is not the case in Europe, I think. So yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so this is the only person that I wanted to come out because I felt free and comfortable. But when I came back to Bulgaria or in Europe, wherever I lived, I never came out. I never had to like have this conversation with someone. So yeah, what about you?
But when you talked to this person, had you already, I don't know, kissed someone? Did you know? Or
No.
did it come later?
It came later, and it wasn't my choice. Like my first kiss, the first time I had sex, were not my choice. It took me some time to like someone after that. I really wanted to it took me, I think, about a year to choose someone. And that person we dated, and we're friends to this day. And my sister absolutely loves him. Mm-hmm. He's an amazing person. So he helped me grow into the person that I am today. But yeah, I never had these amazing experiences that other people have. I'm not going to blame Eastern Europe, the Balkans, or Bulgaria. It's just how it happened to me. But I just wish we had these role models on TV to feel more comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are 100 years younger than me. So how was it for you?
Well, my first kiss was when I was working abroad as a dancer, and it was with one of the other dancers doing the same project, and it was a very surprising thing. Like, we were all a little bit drunk, and then it happened, and it was very quick for me to reconcile that, because up until that point, I had a girlfriend for 4 years, and uh,
What?
yeah, and I've had you know experiences before, but when it happened, it was just it felt vibrant in a different way. Like it felt like a different type of sensation, and I was like saying to myself, "Oh, I'm actually really into this." And then it didn't. There wasn't any part of me that um was worried about it because it felt so natural to be doing this in that moment. And then I felt quite free by that. I was in another country at the other end of the world, and from there it was quite easy to see myself, to start dating and having sex for the first time with men. And it was quite liberating, I would say, to do it as a young person. I was 18 when it happened, so I think that's quite young. And I was also not burdened by any type of negative stereotypes or stigma in my home. Like my parents, we hadn't explicitly talked about queer people, but they were never homophobic, so it wasn't any type of psychological barrier that I had to go through. I think if you grow up in an environment that tells you that being gay is bad, then it takes a lot more mental gymnastics to then be able to love yourself when you come to that moment. But for me, it was quite easy. It felt like something that had always been part of me, and I felt quite happy to be able to express it. There were other queer people around me who were maybe closer to your age, who were quite nervous and worried about it. And I remember, seeing them and then me discovering this new thing that I felt so happy with. And I think in a way seeing them made me feel that I deserve and I owe it to myself to be more open than them in that moment. So it was not to, everyone has their own baggage and circumstances, but it kind of gave me a push to decide to be braver right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Are you, like, overall, are you happy with your experience, the way things happened?
Oh, yeah.
Would you change anything? Okay, good. Then that's the good thing.
It was very fun. And then I think, being like a young gay guy in another country, that what could be nicer than that? You feel like you have all the world around you to play with, which was quite a fun experience.
Mm-hmm. I would love to hear what our listeners have to say about this. What your experience was like coming out, or just like that sexual awakening, just knowing that you belong somewhere else, that you belong with us.
I think it's a very long process, right? Like, if you look at my example, like maybe I knew when I was, let's say, 11 or 12, and then there weren't any situations where that could really manifest itself until like 6 or 7 years later. So it's interesting when you think about those kind of, like, I would call them like breadcrumbs along the way that lead you from your old life to your new fabulous queer house. The little rainbow breadcrumbs that you follow on the on the way there. It's a nice metaphor, right?
It's a lovely metaphor. I'm stealing this. I'm going to be using it from now on.
So I'm very interested. Like, for some people, they don't have their queer experience until their 40s, 50s. Maybe they've had a host heterosexual life and family and children, and that's when they realize, not in a way that's being deceptive, but they just haven't thought about it.
I think the universe is giving us some signs, because actually today a guy messaged me on Grindr saying that he has just divorced his wife, and he won't, because he realized he was gay. He spoke to her. It was a very amicable separation. This is what he said. And he wants to be with a guy for the first time. And I told him, listen, I am open, but let's talk. So we started talking, and it's this wonderful, wonderful man who's lost. I wouldn't say lost, but who hasn't had the chance to experience what you and I have had in the last years, let's say, if that makes sense. So I would love to help him experience whatever he needs to, or at least support him in his decisions. So it's an interesting thing that we're talking about this today. And
it's amazing. I think there's such a big variety of experiences that happen. You know, some people know very young. I think there was like a drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race UK, I think, Crystal Versace. She was very young, and she talked about, you know, finding drag in this lifestyle very, like, as a very, very young person. So I think it's very interesting when you see people who discovered their queer in their, after their 30s or 40s, and then some people now with the visibility that we have, they know this by age 10, and then they're able to live a happier queer life growing up, which is also something that is very demonized. The whole pushback against queer rights around the world focuses a lot on this age between 10 and 18, where people, you know, if you're a straight teenager, you're already having these experiences anyway. Like, no one is really controlling or policing you if when you have your first kiss, or when, you know, you're ready to have sex. It's something that, besides the law, is something that people feel ready when they want to feel ready. And when it comes to queer people having that same freedom, they should be able to figure it out in their teens instead of waiting until many years later on, where they've had something that they might not have felt as fulfilling before realizing they were queer.
Mm-hmm. I support you 100%. Your awakening needs to be liberating. So take as many small steps to get there. It doesn't have to be overnight. Just accept yourself. Find support. There are so many like chat rooms and organizations that you can talk to if you need support to feel freer.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
And if you're listening and you're you feels like you're resonating with any of this, send us a message. It can be a voice message or it can be a written text. We're very curious to hear about your experiences, any part of them that, you know, you feel comfortable sharing, of course. And messages can be either anonymized or they can be with your name, depending on how comfortable you are sharing.
Mm-hmm. Please do. I love our audio, like voice messages, because we get to hear, you kind of get to put a voice to the person that you see in the picture. Mm-hmm. It's lovely. But if you're shy, just send us a written message. That's totally fine. So yeah.
Yeah, let us know. Now, moving on to our fabulous proposal for this episode is a new venture that Simo started together with some other people. It's a website where you can purchase your own t-shirts and other apparel with AI generated art. But Simo, you can tell us a little bit more.
That's absolutely all I wanted to say. So, no, all jokes aside, I love mixing different eras and styles and things like that, just to see what would come out of it. So I was playing one day and I basically created images with gym bros, like these muscular, handsome guys, but in the style of the Renaissance.
Mm.
And also there is an image that we have, which is Man O Lisa, which is kind of like Mona Lisa, but it's a guy with a beard and it looks lovely. I just want to see where I can take this. Of course, portion of the money will go towards our community. This is very important to me. Kosta, you know me, everything I do, I basically invest back in the community through different things, of course. So I would love it and would be very grateful if you supported Classical Redone. We'll leave a link in the description.
Yeah, you can get a t-shirt or whatever you like and send us a picture if you do.
Yeah, please do.
Next up, we have our person of the episode. Today's episode we devote to Sinead O'Connor, who passed away a few days ago. She was a artist that both of us were really obsessed with. A really talented artist, activist. I would say really a voice ahead of its time. She was instrumental in raising awareness about the child abuse scandals in the Catholic Church. She's been a voice for many marginalized communities and also very vocal about her own struggles with mental health, and of course an amazing vocalist who left a big artistic legacy behind.
You and I think, are huge fans of Sinead, who changed her name to Shuhada Sadakat. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but we are going to refer to her as Sinead O'Connor because that's her
artistic
professional. Yeah, exactly. So I remember the news on Bulgarian TV when she tore the Pope's picture. And back in the day, of course, I did not understand why this lady with a shaved head would do this. And it took me years because I wasn't that interested in her music or whatever. I was more of a pop Euro dance kind of guy growing up and later. So it wasn't until maybe, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I started listening to her. She released this amazing album that I love. I'm Not Bossy, I'm the Boss, which is a great title for an album. And you and I, again, are huge fans of her autobiography, Rememberings.
Right.
Which shone light on so many things that I didn't know about her life and why. For example, she shaved her head because everyone was trying to sexualize her. Like the record company tried to make her sexier, which is stupid. Like you have this amazing person who has this amazing voice and it's poetry. Like her albums are absolutely poetic. And you're trying to sell her on hair?
Yeah.
How stupid are you? So I love her music. The autobiography is a huge recommendation from me and you, I think. Let us know if she was ever your idol and if you've recently started listening to her. And if not, please do. I'm sure you are going to enjoy her work.
Yeah, her work is quite moving. So I'm sure there's something there for everyone. Now, it's time for my favorite part of the episodes, our Fuck, Marry, Block. And today, because we started the news with Cheyenne Jackson, we have a slate of male actors that have appeared on American Horror Story. I don't know if you've watched a lot of the seasons, but they're a selection of different actors that have appeared on some seasons of it. We have, of course, Cheyenne Jackson himself. We have another actor called Finn Whitrock. And our third actor is the charming Cody Fern.
So, Cheyenne Jackson, Finn Whitrock, is it? And what is the third guy's name?
Cody Fern.
Okay. I have no idea who these people are, but let me remind you, I don't like pop culture that much. Now, so I would like to Oh, Jesus, fuck. Okay, so, sorry. Now, I would love to fuck Finn because he reminds me of someone I had pleasurable experiences with last summer. Then I am going to fight you on this. I would love to marry Cheyenne Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And then sadly I have to block Cody Fern just because I had to choose others over him. I'm sorry. But yeah, look at those eyes. He's gorgeous.
Yeah, I thought you would go for him, knowing your type.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look at that body. I am going to unblock him. Can I do that?
I think this is the first time where you're gonna break the rule on Instagram to not vote twice for fuck.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, can I leave him on scene? Is that a viable option?
Today, just for today.
Just for today. Okay, what about you?
I think I would do the same. I'm very fond of Cheyenne. He's a dad. He's sober. He would be a great husband. Mm-hmm. Then I think Finn would be fun in bed. And then I would also have to... maybe we can leave Cody Fern unseen in a group chat.
Yes. But on the next day, I'm going to message him. I promise. He looks like I've never, honestly, because I never watched American Horror Story, so I'm not really familiar with these actors, so I'm going to look into them. Maybe there will be something that I'm going to enjoy. But yeah, thank you for sharing these lovely actors with us.
You're very welcome. And that brings us almost to the end of today's episode. Before we go, if you enjoyed listening to today's episode of Fabulously Polite, you can head on over to Patreon and support us there. We have 3 levels of support, and all of the money on Patreon goes towards producing our short film Day. You also get access to exclusive content, behind the scenes moments from the film and the preparation for it, as well as the show notes from these episodes.
Yeah, it's the end of the episode, and I, Simeon Todorov, and Kosta Karakashyan have an agreement that if ever there is a chance that I could play Dead Body number 3 in any of his productions, I'm going to do this. But now I'm going to do an open call to Mr. Troye Sivan, and if he needs a Dead Body number 3 in any of his work, just message me. I would love to do that.
Manifesting your dreams.
Absolutely. That's my talents, and there. Just play lifeless. So if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a message on Instagram or send us an email. We're going to leave a link in the episode description. And that's it, I think. Anything you would like to add?
Thanks for listening.